Another thing that irks me about school, and this one's been going for a little while longer, but the whole thing about schools like banning peanut-based food just because some kid is allergic to that. Like, just don't trade lunches with anybody then. Like, I cannot imagine what my childhood would have been like without me being able to bring peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or being allergic to that. Nor do I want to. You know, it's the best thing you could bring. I mean, the only other sandwich I really liked back then was like hard-boiled egg sandwiches, but they don't keep as well. The mayonnaise starts to go after a while. That's one of my fondest memories of my childhood is that. Just peanut butter and jelly, a small bag of Wise brand onion rings, and a can of RC Cola. And of course, this was way back when said small bag and can both cost you 25 cents. Fucking inflation. Sorry to go on that little tangent there, but anyway, in the spirit of the coming month, I decided to hit you with a commentary on Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Considered by many, including yours truly, to be a true gem on the PlayStation 1. And oh man, the voice acting. Hey, we were just excited to get stuff like this in our games, like full motion videos, voice acting in certain games, like really choppy anime sequences, like your X4. But anyway, this thankfully came out later on the PlayStation Portable, along with Rondo of Blood, called the Dracula X Chronicles, and they got Patrick Seitz' Dracula, who plays every other fucking vampire in video games these days. He's Dracula for the latter half of those games. I think he's in Judgment. I know he's in Order of Ecclesia. Blaze Blue, if they're still going with that storyline of Ragnar the Blood Edge being half vampire, thanks to what Rachel did to him. I know it was one of his eyes or whatever. I think they dropped that. I mean, I haven't heard from that plotline being brought up in a long, long time. And, of course, my personal favorite, blah, 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 blah. Cheese Nut, if you're listening, I apologize. Seriously, if you've not gotten this game already, just pause this video right now, purchase it, give it like an hour or two, come back. You'll understand why I wanted to LP this game when there's so many LPs of this game already. You'll also begin to understand why they copied this formula, later dubbed as Metroidvania, for 3 Game Boy Advance games, 3 DS games, and somewhat 2 PlayStation 2 games. That, and I wanted to do something I know I'd enjoy after the bullshit I faced at the end of Streetwise with that goddamn escort mission. Now, even though this is out on PSN, I was actually fortunate enough back in the day to get the CD for this game in... I can't remember the name of the store I got this from. But the store would always have, I think it was like a Walmart or something like that, I don't remember really. But they would always have like these lesser known PlayStation 1 titles that if I was shopping with my mom, I'd look over and I'd pick them up. I'd be like, oh, okay. I think these would be fun to play, so I managed to, this is where I found this game. I think this is where I found Mega Man Legends. It was either I found Mega Man Legends here in that store, or it was the Misadventures of Tron Bonne that I found there, which is even harder to find probably now. I also found a couple of other games like Fatal Fury, Wild Ambition, and a turn-based strategy type of game with dolls and puppets that you could turn into live monsters called Eternalize. Now, if only I had a job back then, a little part-time, I might have actually saved enough money to buy myself that Neo Geo Pocket Color that they were selling there. They had a couple of those games as well. I would have played like the little King of Fighters and stuff like that, especially that Card Fighters game. Those games look amazing. They made one for the DS, which I grabbed immediately because I thought, okay, it's Card Fighters, let me get that. But it's just not the same game. It's at all. Those who have that game know why, and you can see on YouTube it's clearly not as good as the other two. I think there's a second, like, only in Japan or something like that. The second one they did, like, the expanded edition. I know there's probably, like, whatchamacalls for that, like, to patches, whatever. There's also the fact that when that game, the DS card fighters, when it shipped, it had a bug that stalled and crashed the game. So for a while, SNK's site had a thing where it was like, okay, you send in this old cartridge, we'll mail you a newer one with that doesn't have the bug in it anymore. That came to me in the mail with a bunch of little training cards for King of Fighters 2000. Yeah, what the fuck was I gonna do with them? This game, like Streetwise, made me curse my hubris. Because I was, again, like, I got 2 LPs under my belt. I'm going to do something I've never gotten before. Get that 200.6 maximum that the PSX version of this game allows and make my dick hard. I think the Saturn version of this actually has a few more dungeons to offer and a playable Maria as well. I think that shows up in the Dracula X Chronicles version of this game. I was so pissed off at the end, man. Seriously, I was... Not even 8%, like 0.8%, like less than 1% off for the max. And I think with like hacks or like bugs in the game, like little cheats or whatever, you can make like a little even past that, because there's like rooms that were never finished. I guess they left out in the Saturn that was not taken away. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know the whole history of that. I must have stared at that map screen on both castles like a hawk and just praying I would find like a non-solid white line on the edge. I'm like, okay, that's a wall, that's a wall, it's a wall, it's a wall. They're all walls. I was hoping it would just be that one trick that I found out later with the inverted aquatic underground level where I was always missing that little percentage. I thought that alone was going to be enough when I was playing. That I always missed that part when I play it over and over again, and I was like, how do I get up there? And of course, this was like back when I had like dial-up internet, so I didn't have like FAQs at the ready, so I could look that up and see what it could have been. And I was playing other games at the time. I was just happy to play this game over and over again. Man, I didn't want to leave the LP unfinished like that. So yeah, that's 2 LPs in a row where I had that bitter pill to swallow. This was less bitter because this game's awesome and I had a lot of fun going through it again, and I was just like, much more than Streetwise, I must say, which had fun moments as well. But of course, this was me giving myself cake to eat after eating slightly burnt meatloaf. That's what I equate it as, and I don't even care for good meatloaf. Yuck. I'd rather play Streetwise and eat meatloaf. So, before I don't know where I'm going with that analogy. I'm just gonna. Okay, there was a thing about that sword that slices even while you're moving, called the Crissaegrim. The first shmoo that I killed on my practice run trying to get the save games up and running, just to be able to, like, okay, I'm going here and I'll drop a save here and then do these 3 rooms afterwards. The first one I killed actually dropped the fucking sword in my practice run, and I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna make trying to get from area to area a lot quicker, but man, if that had shown up in the LP, I would have had a fucking chugga moment. I would have been like, oh my fuck! I would just blow my load right off. That's what I sounded like there. You know. My swag booty. Yeah, just do that twice. That's gonna show up in a poop later. Fuck him! It's over. No way I was getting that to happen again. I was like, well, it's gonna make the run easier. And I'm like, okay, this room, Crissaegrim all the way, get to this part, save, you know, and then just use the other weapons for like the actual playthrough. That makes me feel a little better. That weapon is like my favorite broken weapon. It gets from area to area super easy, like I said. It really helps against those Golden Knights near the inverted giant clock room, and I was able to grind off them really easy and get my levels up to around like 70, I think, by the end. I know the max is 99, but everything after a while starts dropping only 1 XP if you're high enough level, so it's going to take you forever to get that. You're better, I think familiars take not as long as they do, because you get like... After a while, they'll get like 3 XP or 4 XP, but they only need like 100 XP to get to the next level anyway, so. But yeah, it's my favorite broken weapon in the game is the Crissaegrim, and there are a lot of broken weapons in that game. I think the combat knife, while small, is just like really, really damaging early on. That's a good one. I heard the shield rod with the right combination is pretty good. I don't know the specifics of throwing out them little gradius shields with like the fireball Hadoken motion or whatever it is supposed to be for that. And anytime you can pull out fucking Soul Steel for 50 MP is great too, because you can just like keep yourself alive. Any holy weapon you can find is usually good for just about anything in this game too. I also think this is the first Castlevania to actually give death more to do than just be, yeah, I'm gonna flow around and throw sickles at you and be a giant pain in the ass. I don't know if he had like, is this the first game where they gave him like a Form 2? I'm not sure. Don't. No. First one I've played that at least gave him a Form 2. I don't know if it's a what. That used to be just like a Dracula thing where he just like, it's not even my final form. Now they're giving it to death too. It's, you know, it's like, okay, he's got like some pull now. He's got a little bit more going on for him, story-wise and all that, which I tried to do here with some characters like Death and the Succubus and Shaft, who was, I think, was just a boss fight in Rondo of Blood, but he holds on here and serves as the reason for what goes down in this game. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've never personally played Rondo of Blood, so I don't know exactly. This was also one of those little special CDs that actually had music on it when you put it in a CD player. You know, as you can see, this is a PlayStation Black Disc. Fucking love that. I was quoting that all day and no one knew what the fuck I was talking about. And I'm like, yo, but if you get this CD, like, put this in, man, and just be like, rock out. Track 2, because it says cut number 1 contained like the data for the games. He's like, yeah, he's like, hey, don't play that, but you're not gonna listen to me anyway, are you? You're just gonna do it anyway. I'm like, alright, I'll do. Might be why this CD might be a little bit more weathered, but thankfully if it was able to play on here. I had trouble with the Hapag being able to only play like what I thought would be like PS2 games on a PS2. I tried to do PS1 games on the PS2, but it didn't take. Thankfully I could do this off the PS3 for PS1 games. So I'm able to get more of these out, so I was like, oh, okay, I can do this game. That's awesome. Because I wasn't sure what I was going to do for my next LP after Streetwise. And it came up to this, and I'm like, I need to figure out how to do it, so okay. If nothing else, I was going to figure out how to get it on PSN that way, but because PS6 can already do that, so... Gosh, myself saying pay like, what was it, like $10 for the game? This game also had one of the coolest game over screens I've ever seen. Wow, that was fast. I'm already up on my time. Well, thank you for watching, listening, whatever you do. Blah, 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 blah.